So for whatever reason, you found yourself in an argument against feminism. But here's the thing, your argument sucks. Let's start with the most basic shutdown against feminism. Feminism is sexist. You've come to this conclusion because you've been taught that sexism is basically the prejudice, stereotyping, and discrimination on the basis of sex. Right. Before I even get into this, I just want to state that it's impossible for the oppressor to be the oppressed. That's the nature of oppression. Being offended by something is not the same as being oppressed by something. So bearing that in mind, quite simply, sexism is a form of oppression. I am not saying that men don't face negative stereotyping, and I am not saying that men don't face prejudice and oppression in society. However, only oppressed people experience all of that, as well as it being institutionalized and systemic. Here's how your argument wouldn't have sucked. If you're discussing sexism within feminism, it should be about how some parts of feminism could actually be really problematic for trans people, as well as people who don't sign to any gender and people who are gender fluid. A lot of mainstream feminism at the moment needs to work a lot harder on being more inclusive. But men can get raped too. I can't stand this argument. You have to be a certain level of horrible to pit victims against each other, whatever gender. Also, I find that people use this argument a lot when discussing rape culture, and actually they don't quite know what the discussion is about. I want to handle this the right way because feminism supports all victims of rape. But in the context of why your argument sucks, we are fully aware that men get raped too. We are not ignorant. What we were actually discussing was rape culture, so not the act itself. Rape culture is when you ask victims what they were wearing. Were they flirting beforehand? Asking if they possibly had too much to drink. Whilst anyone can get raped, rape culture predominantly affects women. Men do not get asked if they were showing too much skin. Rape culture is currently ingrained in society. There are people that would never rape anybody, but sometimes their actions and sometimes their words might contribute towards rape culture. Here's how your argument wouldn't suck. Every single rape prevention tip is geared towards people being in charge of not getting raped, not teaching rapists not to rape. So there's the big problem. The other problem in that is that most of these tips are aimed at women. With colour changing nail varnish, for example. There needs to be more done to prevent rape for everybody, such as those glasses that change colour when they detect a substance. That way everyone can be safe. Well, that's just my opinion. Before any argument, you're going to have to show that you know what you're talking about before your opinion is valid. I can tell you that I think socks have emotions. That's just my opinion. It doesn't make it true. Most of the time this has been used because you said your piece, somebody else has come back with personal experience or references, or anything really, and because your argument doesn't extend past that's that, then you swiftly state that that is your made up opinion. Instead of saying that's just your opinion, try saying, I thought of this, but I'm not going to do any research on this because I feel like I am right. Please do your research because without it, no one has a leg to stand on. I am so sick hearing about feminism. Shocker, so are we. Please help us not have to talk about this all the time. Well, I'm a woman and I don't find that offensive. This is quite a hefty topic about internalized misogyny, and that is a whole other video. Your argument sucks because you do not speak on behalf of all women. Neither do I. Neither does anybody. Except maybe Beyonce. When you say this, you're choosing to ignore the negative ramifications that this particular thing might have on other women. You may even be overlooking the negative ramifications this could have on you. Either way, it's a really selfish argument. I can't tell you how to feel about things, that's up to you, but don't throw everyone else under the bus in the process. Yeah, but what about men's rights? Men already have all the rights. I think people use this argument a lot because it's hard to see just how something affects your life until you don't have it. I'm middle class and white. I come from extreme privilege, and if it wasn't for people talking about it, I never would have thought about it. Because when you're privileged, you don't have to think about it. Also, men's rights movements that are around now don't even care about men. That's what really pisses me off. Being fair, any movement that sets out to help people is a good thing, right? The problem is the men's rights movements do not support male victims of rape, they do not support male domestic abuse victims, they don't support trans men. Do you know who do support them? Feminists! Feminism is ruining movies. /series /comics. This argument gets rolled out every time something gets launched with women in it, basically. Why is it totally fine to expect women to enjoy and relate to things that involve mainly men, but as soon as more than one woman comes on screen, we're taking over? Here's how your argument wouldn't suck. Just injecting female characters into a film or a TV series and not spending the time developing their characters or even writing them not only ruins the movie and the TV show, but also puts a massive hindrance in women in the industry, and it's crap. That means I can hit girls, right? Don't hit anybody. Why do you want to hit people? Is it like really hard to live restraining yourself from hitting people all day? You're using this argument as a quick way to put feminists in their place, to make them think that this isn't actually what they want. The other thing is that you're already hitting us. In the UK alone, 1.4 million women and 700,000 men are suffering from domestic abuse. So we want you to stop hitting us. not all men. If we're discussing something about men and it's not something that you have particularly done, then that's great. The reason why your argument sucks is because you have to understand that many men have done this. A majority even. It's always sucky to have to acknowledge that something that you're a part of has bad bits, but that's just life. So stop driving conversations back to you because it's not about you. This argument gets used a lot when women do things to protect themselves and are a bit defensive. As we mentioned earlier, rape is up to us to stop. And that's when they say, but not all men. Like, you may not be a rapist, but you've got to acknowledge why women do certain things to protect themselves. You can't take these actions personally because there is a much bigger picture than you. The thing with all these arguments against feminism is that if you wanted to have a proper discussion about it, you would have Googled it and done your research, but you didn't, which makes you an arse. I didn't mean to attack anyone in this video, I just wanted to show you just how ridiculous these arguments sound. And I know there's tons that I missed, which means they'll probably end up in the comments, which means, much to your excitement, I will do another one of these. But generally, you should just research things that you're talking about, and if you don't know anything about a subject, don't weigh in with your opinion, and maybe just trust what people say about their own experiences. Just kind of simple stuff. I don't think anyone's still here, so I'm just gonna